Welcome back to Sunday Sofa Time here on the very unofficial travel guides. My name is Morgan, and today we're going to talk about my 5 tips for visiting London. I was just in London last week. London is probably one of, if not my favorite major city to visit in the world. I have a certain history with London. I studied there for almost a half a year when I was in college. It's where I sort of, so many like first things, so many like life, what do you call it? Like where you realize something like about what you want to do, or, things like that. I just had a lot of first times at that time in London, so it's a very special place to me. And every time I get the chance to go back, I love to go back. And I've been there with my mom, I've been there with friends, I've been there with work, and I was just there last week again, did a little bit of work, did a little bit of play. There's going to be videos coming up about that as well. And I just wanted to sit down and tell you 5 sort of random things that I think you should know before you go to London. And it starts with, don't be afraid to take the tube. The tube is the subway, the underground train in London. It can help you get basically anywhere you want to go, and it's actually really easy to use. And I'm going to be posting a video about how to use the tube, maybe not coming soon. I know, that's fantastic advertising, isn't it? Not coming soon. But what I mean is, before I get around to posting London videos, I'm going to be posting my Disney videos from November. So those are the next in the pipeline, and then sometime after that, the London videos will be coming. If you have ridden public transportation in any major city before, like New York or Paris, you're probably not going to have any trouble finding your way around the London tube. If it's something that's totally new for you, then I totally understand that it's scary. Like maybe you've never been to New York before. That's probably, like the most comparable when it comes to like size and the way it works. And so, of course, if you've never done it before, it can be scary. But here's one thing that you need to know that doesn't count in the 5 things, and that is people in London are super friendly. Yeah, so if you go down and you want to take the tube and you're not sure of how it works, just ask somebody. And after you've done it once, it all becomes so obvious. And like I said, I will be posting a video eventually about that. So if you subscribe to my channel, then when it goes online, you'll know. But that's the thing. Don't be afraid to take the tube. The next piece of advice I want to give you before you go to London also sort of ties into using the tube, and that is make sure you have some kind of contactless tap-to-pay possibility. Be it a smartwatch like an Apple Watch or an iPhone or any other kind of, modern smartphone, or just having a contactless credit card is going to make things so easy for you. On my recent stay in London just last week, I did not visit an ATM, a money automat. I didn't take out money once. Not once. I used my contactless credit card to pay for everything. And it sort of feels like when you're on a cruise, when you've got your C-Pass card and you just go anywhere and buy any drink or any snack or any, watch or whatever, and you're just like, pling. That's what it feels like in London right now, because everything, like really everything. There was not one single thing that I wanted to buy that I couldn't pay for, from dinner to snacks to just buying a bottle of water at a kiosk. Everything I just ding. Very convenient, and it will save you the hassle of worrying about how much cash you should take out, carrying cash with you, and and then if you're coming from someplace, outside of the EU, even inside the EU, because they use pounds and not euros, it just makes it so much easier. All right, the third thing I want to tell you is also something that, might not interest everybody, but I think when you're in London, you really need to go see some kind of theater. There is no place on the planet that offers as much theater in a small space. There's no place more than London, not even New York City. So I feel like when you're there, definitely take advantage of going to see a show. And personally, I think the quality is better than New York, and the tickets are cheaper sometimes. And if you're not sure, like if you're not a huge theater fan and you're not sure what you want to see, then the best thing is to go to the official TKTS ticket booth in Leicester Square. Not Leicester Square, Leicester Square. I don't know why. That's just how you say it. There's gonna be a lot of like little kiosks offering ticket discounts and stuff like that, but don't go to those. Those are all unofficial. There's only one official one that works together, like with the Theatre Guild of London. I think that's what it's called. And that is this booth, this little hut set up in Leicester Square. So if you go there, like, you know, in the early afternoon or the afternoon, they will have tickets, discounted tickets for productions that night. They also offer normal tickets, but most of their tickets are discounted. And I have done that literally every time I've gone to London. If there's like a show that I really, really want to see, then I might buy tickets for it in advance. But otherwise, if I've got like a list of things like where I'm like, okay, I'd like to see one of these shows, then I'll just go to TKTS, see which one there's going to be tickets offered for. And unless it's like the newest, hottest thing like Harry Potter or Hamilton are right now, you're almost most definitely going to be able to get a ticket at TKTS for that show. Okay, here's number 4 on my list, and this is also something that I always do when I'm in London, one of my favorite things to do, and that is visit the Merlin attractions. What I mean by that are Madame Tussauds, the London Dungeon, Shrek's Adventure, the London Eye, and actually I've never been to Sea Life, but that's also there in London and belongs to Merlin. I don't think there has been a London visit of mine in the last like 5 or 6 years that I haven't gone to one of those attractions, and it's usually the London Dungeon, but I'm also a big fan of Shrek's as well, and haven't been to Madame Tussauds in a while. It's definitely time to go back there, and I still haven't done the London Eye. I don't know why. It's just when I'm there, it just doesn't happen. What I love so much about the Dungeon and Shrek's Adventure is because it's kind of like theater and it's kind of like an amusement park. Both of these attractions involve like live actors telling, like, including you in a story. In the Dungeon, they're telling you about sort of the dark history of London, so you meet characters from the past, and they, they scare you and they make you laugh, and but it's like, it's not a haunted house. It's like being part of an interactive theater experience, and you go through the years and you run into people from the history. Know what I mean? Why am I so bad at explaining this? It takes about an hour, and like I said, you go on rides and you get like involved in the shows, and it's just so much fun. Shrek's Adventure is very similar, except it's more like for younger kids. So you go on a journey through the story, or through a story, an original story involving the characters from Shrek. So you meet like Shrek, Fiona, the gingerbread man, Pinocchio. It's very funny. Kids love it. I've done it a few times now and I love it. And similar to the Dungeon, it has live actors that involve you in the story, and rides, or a ride. So the Dungeon, Sea Life, Shrek's Adventure, and the London Eye are all like right together in the same area, and you can like go to the ticket counter once and buy a ticket for as many of the attractions as you want, and the more you buy, the less it costs, and you can pick like what times you want to go to these individual things, or you can do it online before you get there as well, and that will save you time and money. And Madame Tussauds is someplace in a different part of the city, but also if you've ever been to any other Madame Tussauds and you're like, oh well, I've seen that, I guess I don't need to do that again, the one in London will change your mind. It's like the biggest, baddest, coolest, and I think the original, and they also have like rides and escape rooms and stuff like that, so definitely a highlight, but highly recommend booking your ticket online before you go. Okay, the 5th piece... What I wanted to say was, the 5th piece of advice, that's hard to say, try to say that once, I'll wait. Did you make it through the first time? Anyways, the 5th piece of advice I wanted to give you is not going to apply to everybody, but it's something that I consider that I will consider now when I book a London hotel, and that is, try to book a hotel that has its own bar. And this is why. London, which is so absurd to me, it's this, it's such a progressive, modern city with so many people, so many tourists, and the pubs close at 11 o'clock. Yes, so you have to be in the bar before 11 if you want to get a drink, and then at like 11:30 they start kicking everybody out. Even on the weekends. And I don't want this to sound like I'm like an alcoholic, but what I think is weird is like when you're in any other city, like let's take New York for example, you might go out to dinner before you go to see a musical, and then after the musical, then you go out and you have some drinks. Well, if you want to do that in London, you can have like one drink and then the night is over and you're gonna be rushed. And it's just not like a fun way to end the night, It might be that I only have one drink anyways, but what I just think is so disappointing is like, after you leave the show, you've got to like run to get to the pub. Then you got to like, beat the masses to order because everybody's trying to order their last drink before they ring the last call bell. Call bell, not cowbell, although it does sound similar. And then you've got like 20 minutes to drink it before they start kicking you out. Not fun. So after the closing time, the only places that can serve alcohol are like dance clubs or music clubs where you'll have to pay a cover charge to get in, and because that's the only place you can go, they also charge more for drinks usually, or a hotel bar. Ting! See what I mean? So the hotel bars can serve alcohol to their guests until late in the night. I don't know exactly when, but definitely past 11 o'clock. So the prices will also be a little bit jacked up just because, there's no place else to get a drink. But it's just more relaxed. Instead of trying to rush to a pub to get a drink after the show and then, only have one and then get kicked out. It's just so much more relaxing to like take your time to get back to the hotel, maybe, order an appetizer or something, and then have one drink at a leisurely pace, or have two drinks if you want them before you have to go to bed. My hotel recommendation for London is the Strand Palace Hotel. I'm not sponsored by them. I've never been sponsored by anybody in that sense. Great location. They just updated all their rooms. I haven't seen one, but I was always fine with the way the rooms were in the past. And that's where I usually stay when I go to London. And I have a review of a few of the rooms there and a room service mukbang video in my library. So just go down, press the little magnifying glass under this video, and then you can search for those in my library. There you go. Those are my 5 tips for visiting London. And there's so many other things I could tell you. But when I was just thinking about, how I was missing being in London today and wanted to talk about it, and it's actually on my Apple TV screensaver right now, right over here. So strange how the universe works sometimes. If you have any tips or questions that you want to write or ask about London, then just write them in the comments below. I try to read and answer any question that anybody asks me. Sometimes it takes a while, sometimes I miss things, but at least I try. Commenting on your comments is going to be left out of this video as well. I hope you can forgive me, but it's because, as you know, or maybe you don't know, I am on a cruise right now. So there's the video that I would be commenting on would be last week's Sunday Sofatime, but that doesn't exist yet. It's not online yet, so I can't comment on those comments now. Know what I mean? But if you want to know how the cruise is going, then follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. That's where I usually post the most when I'm out and about, especially on Instagram, in my Instagram story. It's at Mr. Morgan O'Brien. And I'm so excited to be back here in front of the red sofa next week, because then I'm going to tell you all about the MSC cruise, so don't miss it. See you then.